And away we go. Now, the time I am recording this episode is at a much earlier time I usually record these episodes. I always record podcasts at a very specific time, or at least a specific part of the day. Either way, I'm doing this now, so that way I have something in the backlogs in case there are days that I usually would record a podcast episode, yet I couldn't because logistical obstacles. I'm traveling with a family to visit other family in another country. And yeah, so just you can never be too prepared, you know? Yes, we all know. So, now, of course, I was going to send loads of Instagram reels into the group chat for the lads to look into. However, most of what I've saved is on the same device I'm recording the episode on right now. Now, I could do it. I'm not going to bother. I don't know why. I'm just not going to bother. So that is that. And the thing is, why do I talk about whatever me and the lads in the group chat have been sending? It paints an interesting picture. Not just how we see the world, it's also painting a picture of what the culture is. Even when a huge majority of people disagree with these said videos, which is okay. It is okay to not agree with these fundamentals, principles, and the context of the videos in question. There will be more. No, not more. There will be other stuff happening somewhere around the world. So, in regards to what me and the lads have sent in the group chat, just what we've seen, not that we agree with these people, or disagree with them for that matter, but nonetheless, we're just like, so what? That's just how the world is. It is what it is. It was what it was, so on and so forth. That's just how I'm reacting to these stories. Of course, there will be stories that I would be like, I'm sorry, why would they do that? Why would people do stuff like this to other people? There'll be times I would be genuinely concerned. Otherwise, in smaller scale stories, I'd mostly be like, eh, I've seen this happen before. We all know how the story goes, and the rest is history. So, Eric sent a Twitter X post by Mr. Nobody at Mr. Nobody. The caption reads, "Okay, this is getting really weird now. The Jeffrey Epstein lookalike, Palm Beach Pete, is now saying he used to party with him." I'm gonna check if there's more to the caption. ... So there's nothing else that's been said. That's the entire caption. And here is the man himself saying something.
I'm Palm Beach Pete. I'm a regular guy. I'm retired. I lived in the city for a long time. Worked in commercial real estate. I love to play tennis. I'm very social. I'm not going to change. This guy is dead, and he was a really bad person. And I can hold my head high. I didn't do anything. I just happen to have similar looks. I'm just a better looking version than Jeffrey. Back in the day, when I was living in the city, I went to a couple of parties, and Epstein was there at a party, and he was kind of creepy, just sitting on a couch, staying to himself. And he wasn't the magnitude that he is or was, so he wasn't a big deal. He was mysterious. People didn't know how he made his money and where he, what his story was, but I, I never really encountered him and had a conversation with him. I just saw him at a party.
So yeah, that is something. That is information not many people would be talking about, other than those who have actually seen that video. And the man that spoke, Palm Beach Pete, his facial features really looks very similar to Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, it's not Jeffrey Epstein. His face gives the impression to most people that, is that actually Jeffrey Epstein? I thought he was dead. It is shocking how similar, almost similar, Palm Beach, Palm Beach Pete looks to Jeffrey Epstein. It's scary. And I'm looking at the comments, and there's one picture actually the many users actually showing pictures of looking at the differences between the teeth arrangement between Jeffrey Epstein and Palm Beach Pete. And interesting. Wow. Of course, there'll be similarities. Of course, there are notable differences. People saying that, nah, this man is definitely Jeffrey Epstein. And there are some users just showing pictures of the arrangement of both Pete's and Jeff's teeth arrangement on their lower jaws. Like how each specific tooth on Jeff's and Pete's lower jaw are very close. Not exactly, very close to being in the exact same positioning as each tooth is being placed in. So yeah, of course, everyone's losing their minds now that Jeffrey Epstein is possibly alive, just playing this persona as Palm Beach Pete and thinking, well, he's not that big of a deal. He's kind of mysterious. We don't know much about him. He's not that big of a deal as people make him out to be. So yeah, let's see how people comprehend this information. Madness. Absolute madness. That is, that's all, and that is it as of the last time I recorded a podcast episode. Actually, no, that was a different podcast. I sent something else recent. I also sent something a couple of days ago, and it's in regards to Morocco now being declared AFCON champions 2 months after the final has been played, where Senegal at the time won 1-0 at the end of that match, the day of the AFCON final. Everyone accepted that Senegal were the champions of Africa. And now, just a few days later, 2 months after the AFCON final, the Confederation of African Football said, no, 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 the Senegalese national team forfeited the match. Morocco are the winners of this year's African Cup of Nations. Everyone on the internet are going ballistic. Before I say more, what I shared in regards to that story to the lads in the group chat is a YouTube Shorts video title reading Morocco are now AFCON champions question by the channel HR Vizak. I'll play the video now.
Saw this news. Yes, Morocco have officially been crowned AFCON champions after Senegal have forfeited the match, giving Morocco the 3-0 victory on paper. And although they lift the trophy then, Monte and Co.'s victory have been stripped. This has to be one of the craziest things I've ever seen in the world of football. Even if you think Senegal should have not walked off the pitch like that, how can you just change the trophy winner 2 months later? Yup, them walking off the pitch is essentially what allowed the title winner to change. But if those are the stern rules, why did you not just sort everything out earlier? We all saw what happened in the match. Morocco had the perfect chance to win after Senegal walked off the pitch. A penalty in the last possible seconds, and Brahim Diaz completely flopped it. It's a horrible look for African football. This confederation are already known to be a mess, but this completely questions the legitimacy of any future tournaments as well. I mean, every African tournament from here on out, you shouldn't be celebrating too soon. From now on, give it 2 months before the parades begin. Even if you want to argue that this was the correct decision, it shouldn't take so long for a major switch like that. It just feels wrong, and even as football fans, it feels like we've been robbed of some special moments, even when it's not our own country. That's just my immediate opinion, though. Let me know what you guys think.
Of course, at the time I discussed that on the other podcast, I said that what this man has said in regards to Morocco being crowned AFCON champions, I would have said the same thing. Why take so long to make that decision? Even if Senegal shouldn't have walked off the pitch, and the decision would have been made for Morocco to be crowned champions if the rules states that if the majority of the forfeiting team forfeits the match by walking off the pitch, why now? Why are you deciding 2 months after the AFCON final to say the team has forfeited the match, Morocco are the champions now? And the thing is, the Senegal Soccer Football Federation, they're gonna take this to court. They're gonna argue that Sadio Mane did all that he can to convince the Senegalese players to not walk off the pitch, get back on the pitch, he said, and continue playing the game. And they did. They continued playing the game. The final whistle blown, and Senegal, winning 1-0, were crowned AFCON champions. Well, at the time, of course, until this ruling, which, in my opinion, it's a load of rubbish. It's like these people can't make up their minds about what rules go with what rules, what should be followed. Again, even if that was the verdict that should have been delivered at the time, it's already too late now. It's done and dusted. This is an absolute joke. It's an absolute joke. Senegal deserves better. And something I didn't mention in the last episode on another podcast, people would likely ask, well, why did Senegal even walk off the pitch to begin with? Well, the reason why the Senegalese soccer football team walked off the football pitch is because of a decision by the referee to award Morocco a penalty. Now, I'm not sure which penalty it was. I know for sure that eventually, one too many penalties given to Morocco, then it was the final straw for the Senegalese players. And there was tons of controversy, like even before the AFCON final. The training grounds for Morocco and Senegal being close together to the point where some of the players could get an unobstructed view to see the training routine for the other team to get an advantage in the run up to the AFCON final. And there was also arguments within the match that the referee that was refereeing the match was allegedly biased towards the Morocco team, giving Morocco every chance possible for them to win AFCON, even when every attempt it didn't go exactly according to plan, especially one penalty take. I'm not sure what his first name is, but I know his last name is Diaz. Diaz, when he took the penalty, the way he took the penalty was so dang easy to save. Now, surely, he knows not to do that again. Very embarrassing on his part. Still, why do that? I'm just asking, why take a penalty like that? Again, a lesson well learned. He won't be doing that again, that's for sure. So yeah, I think I've said more than enough about this story about Morocco winning AFCON, even 2 months after the final. Question is now, what's next for African football, or the Confederation of African Football? Is anyone going to trust the referees, the officials of CAF? Is anyone going to celebrate the moment a match has been declared full time? It's not. Again, I fear for the future of football, soccer football. If these are the verdicts, the decisions that have been made by officials, then I'm not sure why anyone would continue to watch football within the African continent. If these decisions is only the beginning, and decisions like that will continue to be made. Absolutely embarrassing. Well, surely, what happens next? Surely, African soccer football fans, they get what they want. They get what they deserve. The fans of soccer football within Africa. And that is all that's been shared as of recently, as of the last time I recorded an episode for this podcast. So, with that being said, let's get into the rest of the news. For the most part, study suggests younger age for Chile's important Monte Verde archaeological site. A study suggests the Monte Verde archaeological site in Chile dates to between 4,200 and 8,200 years ago. Much more recent than the 14,500 years old previously thought. Researchers used 3 scientific dating methods on material from Monte Verde to arrive at the new age estimate. The new findings make Monte Verde irrelevant to the debate about when humans first entered the Americas, as it is now considered too recent. Whilst I don't have much of an opinion on this story, I am wondering about the discovery of the Americas. So, was there civilization before colonization by European powers? Was there natives forming their own empires within the continent's plates? I'm not going to say history is all lies, it's a hoax or such. No. No. I don't know why I'm having these thoughts about questioning if there was any early civilizations in the Americas, which there have been. What I'm questioning is, how early are we talking of early civilizations in the Americas, the American continent? Strictly Come Dancing pro quits show after 14 years in emotional video. Karen Hoa announced her departure from Strictly Come Dancing after 14 years in an Instagram video, stating it was the right time to close the chapter. Joining the program in 2012, Hoa became its longest-serving female professional dancer and recalled her debut alongside Sir Bruce Forsyth and Len Goodwin, which changed her life. In an official statement, the BBC praised Hoa's incredible contribution over 14 years, while her partnerships included Gladiator star Harry Aikens Artite, Jamie Lang, and late Harry Biker's chef Dave Myers. Her departure follows reports that several professional dancers were axed ahead of the 2026 series, though the BBC has yet to confirm further roster changes, assuring fans her announcement isn't a goodbye, it's simply see you later. Hoa said she will continue dancing as the series returns to BBC One and iPlayer later this year. Wow. 14 years. That is quite the journey for being a professional dancer on Strictly Come Dancing. Of course, there comes a time when eventually a chapter in a space comes to an end, and it's better to do it later than to do it never, or at least do it now than later. You never know what will come next in your life. And just because a chapter does close in a show or project does not mean you stop with pursuing your interests, your hobbies, or your passion. That can still continue anywhere else where you'll be going next. I remember there was a staff member at the college I went to. Whilst I'm not going to say he's old. Then again, people will say that he would be old. Whilst this former staff member at my old college was at an age he could retire, when he left my college, it was not a simply retiring from his passion or profession. He is just announcing that he will no longer be a staff member at my old college. He's still pursuing music elsewhere, whether it be a church in Swindon, other choir works in his local community. I'm not sure exactly what he's doing after he's left my college. I know for sure he's still doing music, playing the piano, maybe doing some conducting somewhere. So yeah, that's pretty much the point I'm making. Just because you're leaving a project, a show, or an institution does not mean you stop working on your profession, your hobbies or interests. You can continue to do these kind of stuff, anywhere else in any other place that you are heading towards or going to. So let's see where the path lies next for Karen Hoa. maybe it could be bigger than where she was before, whilst she was a dancer for Strictly Come Dancing. Or maybe it's just could be one of those pop quiz questions where someone somehow for some reason has knowledge that no one thought was even possible or even thought about. Yeah, there we go. Either way, best of luck to you, Karen. All the best of luck to you. Tickets to toothbrushes. Can the BTS money-making machine beat Taylor Swift? On Saturday, BTS performed their comeback concert in Seoul with 260,000 attendees, launching a world tour starting April 9th in Goyang with 82 shows, potentially surpassing Taylor Swift's Eras tour, which generated around 2.56 billion US dollars. After an almost 4-year hiatus and mandatory military service, BTS returned to live shows, with analysts linking the surge to a broader K-everything wave that BTS helped catalyze, boosting the ARMY fanbase. Merchandise ranges from novelty items to beauty devices, fueling sales that rose about 430% earlier this month, while Shinsegae duty-free freeze Myeongdong K-Wave zone runs out of key BTS products. Kim Ji-min said, I'm not sure I'm saying any of these names or places right, but there we go, that's my attempt. Economic forecasts point to large tourism and retail benefits, with Kim Hyuk of IBK Investment and Securities estimating at least 2.9 trillion Korean won, and Jiwook Shin of Stanford University noting measurable spillovers into K-drama, beauty, cuisine, and fashion. Starting in Goyang on April 9th, BTS's tour covers 82 shows in 34 cities in 23 countries, with organizers saying more dates may be added next year, while Netflix's Brandon Reich said, "This is the biggest live musical performance Netflix has ever staged globally." I've heard a lot about BTS, and I will tell you right now, and I'm not being biased, I don't pay attention to much K-pop music, or K-music in general. I know for sure that BTS is one of the biggest K-pop fan bases the world has ever seen. I'd be surprised if there isn't any word from analysts saying that BTS will make a big impact doing their upcoming tour in countries around the world. And I would also be surprised if there wasn't people saying that there wouldn't be merchandise related to BTS being sold to the ARMY fan base or BTS fans. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to overtake Taylor Swift. They will come close, worst case scenario, in my opinion. They will fall short by a few chunks from beating records that Taylor Swift currently holds in regards to doing live performances and doing world tours by any music artist. If at any point BTS does beat Taylor Swift's record, then good for you, good for BTS. And it would also be very beneficial for the K-pop genre as a whole. In my opinion, the reason why K-pop as a whole has become so widely well known to the global audience sphere was all thanks to BTS introducing global fans to K-pop. Now, I'm not saying that there hasn't been a global fan base that existed before BTS became so popular. What I'm saying is, BTS is the reason why K-pop as a whole, or Korean music, has become a lot more popularized on the global stage than it has been before BTS has been formed or well known to people around the world. K-pop, or Korean music, has existed for many years. In my opinion, BTS is what popularized K-pop to global audiences. The Americas, Europe, and maybe even Africa. I'm not sure if there are any African K-pop fans. I wouldn't be surprised in the next few years there are K-pop fans in Africa. We'll have to wait and see if that would be the case, or how big of a fan base in Africa Korean music has amongst K-pop, K-rock, K-something, or whatever. So, yeah, we're going to be hearing a lot more Korean-themed music shows in the next few years. It won't be so overwhelming. We're not going to be fanatics of Korean media or something. In the next few years, as BTS could start to go on their tour in countries around the world, there will be a lot more discussions regarding anything Korean themed or anything coming from South. This is only the beginning, and the rise that no one is going to be ready for. No, not even I would be ready. And I've been shocked many times in my life. Hawaii suffers its worst flooding in 20 years, and forecasters warn more rain is coming. On Friday, Hawaii suffered its worst flooding in more than 20 years as raging waters lifted cars and homes across Oahu, prompting evacuation orders for 5,500 people north of Honolulu. Heavy rains fell on soil already saturated by Kona lows from a winter storm last week, with experts noting that intense rainfall events are increasing due to human-caused global warming. Authorities closely monitored the 120-year-old Wahiawa Dam after water levels spiked to 84 feet, just 6 feet shy of capacity. The National Guard of Honolulu Fire Department airlifted 72 people from a spring break camp. Governor Josh Green estimated storm damages could top $1 billion, affecting roads, schools, and homes across the state. Green confirmed his chief of staff received assurance from the White House that Hawaii would receive federal support. Honolulu Mayor Rick Blangiardi warned that 6 to 8 inches of additional rain is forecast for Oahu over the coming days. Officials continue to evaluate the aging dam's acquisition, with a state board vote scheduled for next week. Well, to anyone living in Hawaii right now, I hope you stay safe, and you don't get drenched by the storm that is yet to come. And I certainly hope that no one gets injured. As we all know, floods more than just causes damage to infrastructure and property, they can cause damage to lives as well. I hope that's not the case with the storm that's about to come. So I hope everyone in Hawaii stays safe and whatever's been damaged is very minimal, and if it is damaged, it can be repaired and just go on with our lives. Russia thwarts protests over the blocking of a popular messaging app. The frustration persists. This month, Russian authorities blocked protests over Telegram, including preventing a March 15th demonstration in Perm, where Viktor Gilin was detained and fined. Authorities succeeded in most cases. The Kremlin framed Telegram as a security risk, citing battlefield concerns and urging users to switch to Max, a government-backed messaging app critics say is a surveillance tool. Authorities used pretexts like inspections or snow removal to shut down planned gatherings, with Roman Malozyomov saying Novosibirsk Sibirsk rally sites were taped off for a tree inspection this month. Disapproval over Telegram restrictions has spread across political lines, fueling wider frustration as Communist Party regional branches held pickets in Myanmar and Sikiti Vakar and Krasnodar authorized an outskirts rally. Unconfirmed media reports warn of a possible full Telegram block later this month, as activists seek more rallies on March 29th, and Mediascope reports 93.6 million users in December 2025. Firstly, first thing I would say, what are these reasons for preventing these protests? Like tree inspection, pickets. Okay, pickets. That's understandable. I'm not saying I agree with them. I understand people trying to. Actually, no, I don't know where I was going with that. But I'm sorry. Tree inspection. What tree are you expecting? That's what that with me. How are you taping off rally sites to look into the life of a tree or multiple trees? Can you not inspect trees whilst the rallies are going on? Now, that's not the point of what these government or local regional authorities are putting up. They're trying to prevent people protesting the Russian government blocking Telegram from being used by Russian users. And I recall many years ago, back when I was at the trap, there was this girl in my class. Now, she does not use Telegram. I remember this girl in this one of my sessions for the trap that I was at. She was looking. No, I wasn't snooping at what she's doing. I just overheard of what she was saying, talking with another friend of hers. I overheard her and this friend of hers talking about this app called Telegram, which I already knew about. This girl in question looked into it, and her response, from what I've heard from her, she said, oh, it's from Russia. Or along the lines of, it's from Russia. It seems sketchy. It's from Russia. I'm not going to argue with that. It's her life, her opinions. She's entitled to it. And even if people disagree with what she says, she is entitled to those opinions. Looking back on that moment that this girl in my class at the trap had said on what she thought about Telegram, just on her first impressions, believing it is affiliated with Russia, now looking at the story that the Russian government is wanting to block Telegram, those first impressions really aged well, that's for sure. Now, this is not to say this is a black and white issue, to say that anything affiliated with Russia means that people shouldn't trust it, or these platforms are something that the Russian government would likely back. There are multiple layers to this, and now with this story that, again, the Russian government is trying to prevent protests regarding the blocking of Telegram for Russian users, now really opens up multiple doors about should we believe what governments should be saying? If that's not what's on people's minds, or if that is not the important issue, I know there will be people that will say along the lines of, should we be under the impressions that just because a platform is headquartered or primarily based in a particular country, it sets the precedent of how people view the app in question? I'm talking about platforms like Facebook, Instagram, apps, social media platforms that many people use, which are based in the United States, yet as of now, many people around the world are not liking the United States at the moment, mainly in regards to the orange man that is Donald Trump. Then again, I can talk about any orange man. I'm talking specifically about Donald Trump. Yeah, I know not many people like Donald Trump. And that's okay. Everyone's entitled to those opinions. Even when people don't like what the current US government are doing, that doesn't stop people from using Instagram and Facebook, platforms that are headquartered in the United States, even when people have negative views on the current US government. So how is it that, as of now, I'm now no longer believing that people think that because platforms are based in Russia, it is supported by the Russian government. We now know that there is a difference between a company based in the country and that country's government. Now, of course, even when Telegram is under threat by the Russian government, that does not mean people are now suddenly going to flock over to Telegram. People are already under enough negative impression that Telegram is not a good app, regardless of how much support it gets from the Russian government. What happens next with Telegram? Who knows? Telegram will still continue to operate, just not in Russia, if the ban does go ahead. And cities in Russia trying to prevent protests from happening regarding Telegram being blocked. I'm sorry, tree inspection. That is so stupid. You could just say we don't want people protesting. At least that's believable and more understandable than just saying we're expecting a tree. That's why you can't have these rallies. You could still do that even when the rally's going on. You just gotta have very strong barricade around the trees. It's just what I would suggest. But come on, man, tree inspection. No rallies for you guys. We have to inspect trees. It's very important we check the well-being of our vegetation and whatnot. I'm sorry. That is a stupid reason, in my opinion. Very funny. Very funny, guys. Olympic champ boxer Lin Yuting cleared for return to competition after approval of sex eligibility. Olympic gold medalist Lin Yuting, that's literally her name by the way, has been cleared to compete in the female category at World Boxing events after an appeal from Taiwan's federation. World Boxing, the sport's governing body, announced the decision on Friday ahead of the Asian Boxing Championships starting on March 29th in Mongolia. World Boxing appreciates the way the appeal process was handled and acknowledgements of its eligibility policy designed to ensure safety and sporting integrity. If Eric was on here right now, he's not going to go on a rant, I don't believe. I know Eric is going to have strong opinions on this, about separating male and female in sports as a whole. What I would say is, what was all the hubbub? What's to say we can't allow Lynn to compete in the female category of boxing? Shouldn't there be some kind of procedure, process, or test in regards to the sex of each athlete? I'm just saying, I'd assume there's a process. If people are not sure about the identity of the identities of athletes competing in events, I'm just saying, for discuss, this should not be up for discussion. We cannot be questioning about the identity of an athlete, whether it be the gender or the ethnicity, religious faith, at least specifically in this story. We can't be questioning the sex of an athlete if there's already processes to observe what the gender of the athlete is. I know many people are not going to agree with this. I'm not going to argue with that. It's okay to have these arguments. If it's very obvious what the gender of the athlete is, what's the point of having this appeals process? What's the point blocking these athletes competing in sports? Unless there's some other aspect that I have no idea even existed, I don't think this should be up for debate. We shouldn't be discussing about what the gender of the athlete is especially if we know exactly what the gender of that athlete is. There shouldn't be any arguments. And I know there will be people arguing how men try to change their gender to female so they can easily win in women's competition. I think I'd assume by now that that particular mess and loophole has been closed. Otherwise, if you know the gender of the athlete, then just let them compete in that gender category that these athletes do meet the criteria for. And again, I know people are not going to like hearing these ideals and aspects and perspectives. These are what sporting organizations are supposed to do. They have to check the eligibility criteria for athletes and to make sure that no athlete has any disadvantage in any way, or at least athletes don't have a bigger advantage over other athletes, where the outcome could have been different if that said athlete was to be removed completely, disqualified, or were not on the particular aspects that gave them that athletic advantage to begin with. That's what I would say. So in regards to the story, the Olympic champ boxer Lin Yuting cleared for return to boxing. Good for her. Sure, I hope there's a lesson to be learned from this. I really hope there is a lesson to be learned from this. If it's so obvious, then what's the hobble up? What's the hold up? Why are we having this process of appealing these decisions, and why are we preventing athletes competing in specific categories? That's just me. And that is it for the episode.